Yo, guys, some crazy stuff's going on all over London. There's been a sanctions on Chelsea. There's transfer plans for Mikel Arteta and everything going on. Apparently, Serge Gnabry could make a surprise return to the Emirates. And at this moment in time, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get into it. Let's get into everything going on EGTV. You guys already know what it is. The Kitty G on EGTV. Bang. Let's get the show started on a roll. Where we at though? Yo, people, what's going on? It's the Kitty G on EGTV, and I'm back again with another video. Today is absolutely mad. I was just going to do a regular Arsenal video talking about everything Arsenal, but there's a lot of craziness going around in the footballing world. As you guys know, Roman Abramovich, Chelsea owner, has been sanctioned by the UK government, and this definitely affects every major team in world football, especially Arsenal at this moment in time. Also being London rivals, also being another team that is in the current in our current top half of the table. If Chelsea do get sanctions or Chelsea do get sold to a poor owner, this definitely does affect our future going forward, since we are competing for a lot of the similar trophies, similar positions. And you know, over the last 20 years, the riches and success that Chelsea have had, it definitely can change. Now, we're going to also be getting into Arsenal's transfer news. We're also going to be getting into Serge Gnabry, also a little stuff about Rashford, a lot of things to talk about. But first things first, let's begin here. How is everybody doing? Curran's just joined us. Big up, Curran. Curran, how you doing?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. Just setting up. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Femi's supposed to join us, and some other people are just going to jump in a bit. But at this moment, I was just greetings to the people in the chat. And, bro, some crazy stuff happened today. Crazy. Talk to me. How you feeling about Chelsea losing their friggin' owner and getting sanctioned and possibly could get a point deduction and go into administration? Obviously, they're not finished as a club, guys. Let's not over-exaggerate. They're not finished as a club. It's just the way they run as a club and they run as a business for the last 20 years will no longer be the way it is. And young Chelsea fans are now going to experience similar things to what Liverpool and Arsenal fans have gone through over the last 10 years, in my belief. But what do you think?
Look, it's obviously we're a bit shocked by the news today, and it's interesting to see what will happen, because obviously we're looking at a huge geopolitical shift in attitudes towards Russia. So it's a bit difficult to say exactly what will happen. But if you look at the situation in terms of their finances and how they finance their club, you have £1.5 billion owed to Roman. I don't care if he says he's going to allow it to be gone and just write it off or not. The fundamental issue is that you have that debt, and it would be added onto any sale. The UK government now has to authorize the sale. It has to be done through them. He can't just sell it as he wants. He can't do the deal that he wants, and he won't profit from it at all. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, then their sponsorship deals are now in question, with 3 pulling out. Looks like Hyundai might be interested about pulling out. Lots of different things happening in terms of what's going on with them. But again, it's very volatile. It's difficult to see what will happen. I don't think it will be as severe as administration, personally. I could see it happening, but in my personal opinion, it's probably going to be, their summer window. Because remember, in terms of strategy, in terms of transfer planning, it starts now. Like around late February, early March. People start making contacts out to agents. People start making putting things out about contract renewals. That's another major thing with them in terms of Christensen, Rudiger, Aspilicueta, all these different players. They can't do contract renewals. They can't even travel, for God's sake. There's a lot of different things that will happen now. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope.
How are you going to go to France against Lille? How are they going to go against Lille next week?
It's looking like they. I'm not sure if this will actually happen. From what I've heard, it'll be commercial. It'll be like Ryanair or EasyJet or something. something like
Let
this.
me let me bring Score Guy in. Score Guy, you've been a big advocate against everything that's going on at Chelsea and Roman, and you've been talking about this from the beginning since the whole situation and conflict has taken place. Now that today you see the sanctions by the UK government looking like transfer deadline, the way that they did this actually. But yeah, tell me, man, how you feeling? What do you think about this whole situation? And what was this the right thing to do finally?
Okay, lots of questions. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay, listen. First of all, I'm wearing this beautiful hat that's been knitted by a very good friend of mine, a lady that knits these things. So it's my new supporting for Ukraine, obviously. I don't want to get too political on this. I just really want to talk about Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of interviews today about this. I talked about this over the last 2-3 weeks, and very kindly, a gentleman pointed out that a lot of the things that I've been saying have really come to fruition today. And I just want to put some timeline in here and just put some meat on the bones and people to understand, people that might not be fully aware of where we are and what has happened. Abramovich, the war has been going now for just over 2 weeks, as I'm sure we're in the third week, and I'm sure everybody knows that. It started 2 weeks ago yesterday. Now, Abramovich on the Saturday made it quite clear that he was going to distance himself from Chelsea Football Club. He was going to retain ownership, but he was going to get out and he was going to pass it to the charitable organisation. Charitable organisation who includes Seb Coe, who is also the president of the Athletics Federation globally, who at the same time was banning athletes, Russian athletes globally, was about to take over stewardship of Chelsea Football Club, owned by Abramovich, who obviously very good friends of Putin. All these things can't happen. So they walked away. Then he was obviously decided, he came out and said, okay, I'm selling the club. It's because he's dragged on and he's had so many offers of 2.5 billion pounds. He should have, and this is what I was told, the sale was meant to go through this morning with one of those people purchasing the club.
Yeah.
He was told that the legal ramifications, because they had to change the law to actually go after these oligarchs because they're legally, they are so protected. So they had to write a new law. The government had to write a new law. Now, that law was not meant to be being passed until next Monday, all right? But they managed to get it sorted sooner. So they went at 9:12 this morning and sanctioned Abramovich. Abramovich was trying to sell the club and get it over the line today. He's completely had it pulled away from him. Totally. He's completely cocked it up because of his greed. He could have sold this club yesterday for 2.5 billion and Chelsea would have new owners and they wouldn't be sanctioned. But he has been greedy and he has now been sanctioned. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, everyone's been discussing it about, but I really want to say, and the reason why I've come on here tonight, and I've been pushing this all day, the government have sanctioned Chelsea Football Club. Inadvertently, though, because Boris Johnson has not a clue about football, and none of the people at the government do, they've inadvertently sanctioned all the Premier League clubs as well. And let me explain to you how they've done this. It's because Chelsea Football Club are allowed now to still have their fans buying away tickets to go to Premier League games for their remaining games of the season. However, all the clubs that are meant to be going to Stamford Bridge, Arsenal being one of them, for a game that still does not have a date, we are not going to be able to go to Stamford Bridge this year because we cannot buy those tickets. So Chelsea will play their games at home now till the end of the season in a total and utter fierce, demanding, warlike, furore in that ground with 28,000 season ticket holders in, no away fans supporting and driving their team on. And that, to me, is not fair. It's not fair that Premier League clubs cannot go and support our teams in Stamford Bridge. What the government should have done is they should have thought about this a lot more. Chelsea should have had to play their games either at home with no fans or on a neutral ground, where fans could also go, go, and the money goes to neutral. Or made it quite clear that, let's get this right. We are gone are the days when you used to go to Stamford Bridge on a Saturday, buy a ticket for £5 and walk through the turnstiles or go through the turnstiles and go in. It doesn't work that way. When I go to Chelsea away, I have to go through Arsenal, buy my ticket from them, pay Arsenal the money, and then Arsenal give the money to Chelsea, right? And whatever, to go to away games, right? Or Chelsea get to keep the money, whatever. Sorry, that's what I mean. Chelsea get to keep the money. But I buy my ticket through Arsenal, and then Arsenal give the money to Chelsea. Well, basically, we should do that, but then the money shouldn't go to Chelsea. It should go to UNICEF or go to the Ukrainian orphans or whatever. It's clear amount. Every bit of penny, every single penny is labelled and is there on the books, there to be seen. And so it's very easy. Instead of just paying Abramovich sort code, we give the money to UNICEF, and then away fans can go to Stamford Bridge and support their team. And I really want this to happen. I think it's absolutely outrageous that we're going to be in a situation where Chelsea Football Club are going to be supported at home by just their fans and no away fans. It's not a sanction. That's sanctioning us. We can't go to their games anymore, right? I want to go to Stamford Bridge this year. I want to be able to go to it for the last time before they go down to the Championship. I want to say goodbye to Stamford Bridge till the new owner comes in and knocks it down. It's my right. We didn't get to go because of
Let
COVID.
me say this, poor guy. When it comes to that, I hear you, but it literally today changes everything for that club. In my opinion, to a new regime. They're starting a new regime as of today, and that to me, I'm looking at it how it impacts Arsenal, and I'm saying to myself, it impacts us in a positive way, in a sense, because now the Premier League rids itself of an owner who was financially doping and is connected to terrible things, but also it brings them down to more of a parity to the rest of the clubs that have to run financially in more of a business in comparison to what they're doing before. So what are you saying, Karim? Why not?
Look, a little bit. I agree with you partially, but not all the way, because the thing is, we don't know who's coming in. And that's the whole thing I want to make drive home, because look, we know that for example, with the Newcastle takeover, it was delayed because of the fit and proper human test they do, whatever it's called. They delayed it for a while. But the question is, with such a hasty sale, I mean, the owners that we're hearing about are pretty hilarious. I'll be honest. The owners of the New York Jets, the Chicago Cubs, the Sacramento Kings, these organizations, they're not exactly the best. So literally the worst owners in their respective leagues. So that's obviously quite funny. But the question is, say someone serious comes through and they're able to really finance. These are the things. Until a deal is done and we know exactly who the owners is, I'm not going to say, oh, celebrate yet, because we don't know.
Can I just say something on this one? Can I say something?
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys have been talking about before I came on, but just a couple of things I want to do. That is, I like to deal with facts, and facts are the things that can't be denied. Now, the first fact is, if you read that Chelsea statement and read between the lines of that Chelsea statement, it backs up what I'm also hearing through people that I know in the media, and I work in the media, and I do know a lot of people, journalists and whatever. The rumours are that what Chelsea have said in that statement, which is their statement, it's a fact, okay, is that we are going to play the next 2 games and we're going to honour these games. But going forward, Chelsea Football Club, as of next week, might not even have the funds to continue as a football club under the sanctions that have been put out by the government, right? So there's a very good chance that Chelsea could either go into administration, which obviously would be a 9-point deduction, or actually just stop. It's literally on hold. Now, people have been talking on Twitter today about this can't happen. How can this happen? Whatever. The point is, the British government have made it quite clear that these sanctions, this is not flicking a switch on and off. These sanctions on that club are going to be there for at least 6 months. You don't just suddenly put these sanctions on and then go, oh, hold on a minute. Even if Putin, so a friend of mine said, what would happen if Putin turned around tomorrow and said, oh my God, I've made a terrible mistake. I'm pulling the troops back. I don't want to do it anymore. All the sanctions still stay there. They don't come back, not until the regime has changed, right? They are against Russia. They're against the regime that's there. And because obviously They're trying to push Putin out. So all these things, all this stuff that's been taken, all the stuff that's been sanctioned, all the boycotting, everything, none of this is changing until Russia changes its direction globally on the political stage, right? So that is not going to happen. That's not going to happen overnight. So that's a fact. The other fact is that if you think the British government, I had Chelsea fans earlier saying, "Oh, we'll do a sale next week." Well, for starters, at the moment, your club isn't for sale because it can't be for sale because it's under sanction, right? So until a new license can be written, now we have. I listened to a lady before, and I don't know if you guys were in there, but this lady was a Chelsea fan. I must admit, it was probably the best thing I'd heard all day. She was very eloquent in the sense that she was a nurse. She's lived through COVID. She's lived through now her gas and electric being doubled and trebled. We're living through a possibility of a war where sanctions are being done by the British government. They're trying to deal with the world stage. If the British government put a dozen people to facilitate the sale of Abramovich's Chelsea Football Club in a quick manner, as it said, they'll be rioting on the streets of this country because they've got far more important things, this government, to deal with than trying to sell a football club because Abramovich, they've sanctioned this club. It's over. It's done, right? Turn the page. This is on hold. It's not being sold next week. It's not being sold next month. This is going to go into the summer. They've already stated there'll be no transfer embargo. There'll be no transfers. Transfer embargo in the summer. They've not said that because suddenly next week they're all going to be able to go in and talk about transfers. They can't sell players. They can't buy players. They can't do all this. Right. It's absolutely, Chelsea are literally on hold, and Chelsea have to do their books, work out if they can survive as a club. Because if they can't, they will sadly, they'll be out. They'll be gone. Let me tell
you this. Forget about them being gone at this moment in time. But in the short term, if they do go into administration, they could get a points deduction of 9 points, which would drop them the way down to 7 at this moment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Also, that would push Arsenal to 3rd at this moment in time and make it a lot easier for us to qualify for top 4. Second of all, they are going to have to depend on their academy a lot more, and they might need to generate sales. So a lot of people who are interested in signing a certain Broja,
they can't buy anyone.
They can't buy anyone. They can't sell anyone. They can't.
No, they can't. This is the point. They can't sell and they can't buy. And the other point is, and very, very interesting is, Thomas Tuchel has every right now. I was talking to a lawyer earlier. He has every right to terminate his contract as of tomorrow if he wanted to. He could walk out because his contract is with Abramovich, it's with Chelsea, on the idea that they're going to have funding, they're going to be able to buy and sell, negotiate, and him do his job. He's a manager of a football club. He's a manager of nothing. He can't do anything. He's not managing. What can he manage? Okay, he can decide if they're going to play 4-4-2 or whatever they're going to do, but he cannot manage that club. And he is wasting his time there, and this could drag on for a year, 2 years. He could be down. It could literally go in tomorrow and walk away.
Do you think these sanctions are going to be held the same until the end of the year? I really don't believe I think they're going to try to do something.
It's speculative.
Go back to no, it's not speculative. Go back to exactly what I just said before. The sanctions will stay in place for many, many months, in the sense that until there is a regime change in Russia and Putin is gone and all his cronies that are there, and then Russia looks like they are coming out with a new directive, right? And they are open, and they put Facebook back on there, and they've got media back in there, and they're telling the truth, and they're not putting an iron curtain up. These sanctions will stay there until this happens, right? This is sanctions. You can't. I mean, I had someone say before they're a bit harsh. It's like Abramovich turning around and going, but these sanctions are a bit harsh, aren't they? Can you not play them down a bit? You can't. Abramovich can't go to the British government and go, oh, hold on a minute, these sanctions. You don't think all the other 12 people that they've sanctioned today are all going to go, well, hold on a minute, I want my boat. I need my boat next week.
I didn't realize they couldn't sell and buy players, but realize now that I realize.
Sorry, guys. What I mean by speculative is it's speculative they'll be released. That because people are just assuming that obviously it will be released next week. There'll be a sale next week. These are speculations. What we know now is there are sanctions in place now, and we don't know when they'll be released. That's what I meant by speculative. Like what people aren't realizing is at this moment in time, we are at the result end of the stage. We're not at speculation, but these are the results of what's happened. Okay. This is exactly what we are until we get further information about a raise on this license, an ability to actually conduct business beyond the 2-week, 3-week period. These are the facts. The ones are on the side that ESPN released. These are the facts.
Yeah.
So they can play games. They can receive broadcaster money. They're allowed to have their season ticket holders go. They can't buy or sell players. They can't agree new contracts. So that's massive for the likes of Rudiger and Christensen.
Yeah, they've gone.
Selling tickets. They can't sell tickets at this moment in time. They can't sell merchandise. And as you've already said, they can't sell the club. So with all that being said, let's just try to wrap up this point of the thing. My ending conclusion of all this is Chelsea Football Club, as we know it today and yesterday, has changed dramatically, and it will not be fixed in a matter of weeks, months. It will take at least a year or two to realize this club back to its stableness. But at this moment in time, will they still be playing football? Yes. Will they still have Champions League games? I'm not sure about that. But at this moment in time, there's a moment we're in a world of limbo with Chelsea Football Club, and I don't see them getting liquidated. I don't see them going down to the championship or anything like that. But this could definitely hinder their hopes of staying successful and competitive with the top 4, top 6 teams over the next couple of years.
Yeah, can I also just say one thing finally? Obviously this just happened today. These sanctions. You're talking about Champions League. We do not know, and I am speculating here. It's not a fact, but I imagine that Champions League will be looked at by the authorities to decide whether Chelsea can continue in the Champions League under these sanctions.
Correct.
And they could be kicked out of the Champions League. That is a very, very, very real possibility because of the sanctions. Because at the end of the day, they are a politically now sanctioned club by their owner, and we all know that other teams, even though they're not Russian, but they are Russian owners, and now they've been sanctioned. And whether they'll decide, because will they want Chelsea to go all the way in and possibly win the thing? That is not going to be good PR for the Champions League. And at the end of the day, as we know, it's all about sponsorship and PR football now, more than anything. And sorry to say, and also, can I just say, I wish Chelsea happy birthday. They're 117 years old today, and it's a lovely way to spend your birthday. So I think literally Chelsea Football Club officially died today. That was the limit of them. And any Chelsea that come back now will be Chelsea 2.0, Boris Johnson FC, government owned. And that's the future. That is the truth. That is a fact. They will take so many times. And also the other point is, I just want to say, is that when the new people come in, they're not going to run it, as you were saying before, that it's never going to be run like they were before. They are not going to be a money-making machine. They're going to be a money-losing machine. They need a new ground. They won't be able to buy anything. And this will go on for many, many years. They are going to be a bottom club for many, many years, mid-table and fighting for relegation, because they're going to have to do that. They will exist, hopefully. I don't want to see Chelsea go bust. I just want to see them be pulled through the mud for the next 2 years. I'll be very happy for that. That'll be good.
Facts. Yo, my guy Wax comes in and says RIP Chelsea. Go ahead, Curran. And then we're gonna start after this. We're gonna go into Arsenal again. Go ahead.
Cool. There's just 2 points. One, the main thing I would say is about the Champions League, the score I was mentioning. That we saw with Tottenham when they were unable to fulfill their fixtures, they got kicked out of the Conference League. If it comes to a point where Chelsea are unable to fulfill fixtures because of the sanctions and the inability to attend away games, for etc., they could quite easily get kicked out of the Champions League in the same way. It could quite easily happen. So I completely agree with Skolai on that one. The second thing is we're looking at. I mean, this I'm going to say this is speculation, but the bids that have been announced are consortium bids, multiple owners, and we saw as Arsenal fans what happened when we had Kroenke and Usmanov and multiple voices trying to establish what the direction of the club in the way going forward. So when you aren't the primary owner of an asset, there's no incentive to invest in that to that level, because we saw it with our own club. Like the Kroenkes were the majority investors, but they didn't invest, and it's been quite clearly outed saying, look, there was 2 different directions. Usmanov wanted to go in one direction, Kroenke wanted to go in a different direction, and in this instance, there was too much. The ownership models clashed, and there was a massive fallout, and it led to lack of investment in our team. And something similar could be happening to Chelsea now. So for their sake, I hope they can actually find this magic bullet guy that will take them forward. But at the moment, it's looking like an American consortium, or even that Swiss guy. I don't know if he's still around, but it's looking like a consortium bid, which would be very, very detrimental to their actual ability to invest and going forward in terms of player acquisitions, in terms of developing their in terms of developing their club and bringing it forward, commercial deals, etc. So massive questions could be asked.
Just to bring it back to Arsenal, we're going to now talk about everything Arsenal. But first, the last thing that we need to discuss is, thank God that Arsene Wenger, the board, and everyone at Arsenal did not do any business with Usmanov.
With Usmanov, yeah.
And he went with Kroenke. Arsene Wenger, when backing Kroenke, he's seen something we didn't see. The board and everybody at Arsenal, they seen something that we didn't see. And at the time when everyone was against Usmanov, personally, I was on the wrong side. I personally thought somebody who's financially backing the club, but I didn't realize what Kroenke was trying to do. Kroenke was just trying to gain full ownership before he fully invested in the club, where Usmanov was willing to put in whatever money, even if he owned part.
It was nothing to do with Wenger, to be honest. It wasn't really much to do with Wenger. It was more to do with the board dynamics and the ability of Usmanov to buy Everton. And he was basically fed up of fighting the war with Kroenke, and he sort of moved on.
Yeah.
We saw
now
that
Everton could face sanctions.
Everton could face sanctions.
Point deduction.
The fact of the matter is what like, I don't particularly like American foreign policy. Obviously they have their own issues, and we can get into all the geopolitical issues if we want. I don't really want to, but the issues in terms of, as an Arsenal fan, I'd rather have Americans that I know are never going to get sanctioned. I'll be real. Like, I'm never going to have issues with sanctions being placed from an English club on Americans. This is never going to happen. The relationship is there, so at least we have that security. I always was
Thank God for Stan, eh?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've said this entire season that it was very much a case of, look, you have to see what's going on now, because the amount of owners that we see in this league with the ability to, you know, have issues going in terms of sanctions or being held accountable for their whatever they've done. I'd rather have Americans where I know I'm not going to have that issue. So it is what it is. I mean, I don't particularly. I've always been very much on the fence with Stan and them lot, but I'd rather devil we know. You know what I mean? It's sort of very much a case of like, I know what I'm going to get, and it's looking like they're looking to invest more. So
Wax says Usmanov does not own Everton. He's just financially
correct. Yeah. This is a very good point.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
He's a good friend for actual owner, but they will face ramifications if they get a point deduction and they end getting relegated because of that point deduction, because of their financial doping.
Totally, yeah. They've been financially doping for some time, and also Abramovich is wrapped into building their new stadium, and he's put money into that, and it seems that they've distanced themselves as far as where they can, but he's still going to be allowed to put money into that stadium. But sanctions are coming his way, and I think Everton are literally. They're probably half of that. You know, if you think, you know, if you think Chelsea are sort of, you know, they've broken, they've dropped below the waterline. Everton are taking on water massively, and they could easily start to sink as much as Chelsea are. Chelsea are well under the waterline, but you know, I mean, you look at Chelsea. At least they're, you know, third in the table. You know, Everton are already fourth or fifth or whatever from bottom. If they get a points deduction, the way they're going and who they're going to play, we could relegate them on the last game of the season. Come on,
they could be relegated before they could literally be relegated before we even play.
Yeah, true.
And the other thing with Everton is we were hearing before. I mean, the story before was about how their financial regulations and their ability to meet those financial regulations was definitely in doubt, and they could be facing a points penalty as well. So these are the things when you get into bed with like these. I mean, we're not going to talk about Saudis yet or the Qataris yet, but definitely with the Russians, when there's political tensions, you're going to have this risk, and
totally.
it is what it is at the moment. And
what do you think about this comment here? Chelsea will try to force the Super League now. The Super League. I think
Chelsea won't be in the Super League. Chelsea won't be in the Super League.
They won't be in it.
They won't be in it. They won't. There's no way they're going to be in it even now going forward, because they are not going to have. they're not going to have the draw. They're not going to have the players. They're not going to have the. Even if the Super League was happening next month, Chelsea would not be invited because PR-wise, you can't have. Chelsea are now tainted. I don't think people are understanding their fan base. I know they are blind and they're supporting Chelsea, but globally and global sponsorship, which is what it's all about, no one is going to sponsor or put money.
All their sponsors are falling out.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the other thing to say, guys. I know you mentioned it earlier, but when they do get new owners, and Chelsea will get new owners, but those owners are going to have to absolutely be tested and double tested by the British government, who are going to have the final say, and they're going to have to be literally Mother Teresa and as beautiful and as honest as can be, and they will be the best owners ever. But they will literally make sure that every single penny that they put in that club has come from the right part of work, and it's going to be huge, and that's going to take time for it to come in, and then they're still going to be monitored, and then they're going to have to coax sponsors to come in and support them, and they're going to have a lot of money and a really thick skin, because sponsors are not going to suddenly start jumping on Chelsea all of a sudden. It's not going to happen that way. Not when they can look at other teams such as Arsenal and West Ham and people like that, where they think, do you know what, we can jump in on that because these people are going back into Europe. They're doing good things. They're doing good business. They're clean. They're the right look. And that's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. And Chelsea financially are going to suffer massively. But anyway, let's talk about Arsenal for a bit.
Let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal's current form over the last 10 games has been stupendous. We need to get into the Watford game. There's some touching points that I want to get into in this Arsenal segment. So first, I want to get into the Watford game. What do you guys think about the Watford game? Then from there, we can go.
Well, what happened? What happened in the Watford game? I can't remember. Jesus Christ!
A lot of things.
I've still got bruises.
Some lovely goals.
I've still got bruises from that game. Jesus.
We won that game. Right? It was defensively poor at sometimes. Attacking wise, it was really beautiful. And Bukayo Saka show, in my opinion, Martin Odegaard show, in my opinion. Them two ran the strings. Gabriel Martinelli got a goal. And you know what? Lacazette work rate and effort was put on full display for everyone to see in that game, in my opinion. So first, let's talk about the Watford game, then we'll move on to everything else. And also, just to let everyone know, Emil Smith-Rowe will be back for the Leicester game, so that is a positive. Partey got Player of the Month, and honestly, it was close between him and Odegaard, in my opinion, but Partey is well deserving of it. But Bukayo Saka's improvement has been stupendous, and we definitely need to touch on that. And Martin Odegaard showing leadership, showing control of the game, showing how good of a player he is, and what a signing he's been. And then the final point that I want to touch on before I pass it on is we don't know who our captain is going to be going forward, but damn, looking at that pitch, looking at the people on the pitch with Ramsdale pushing people on, Gabriel Martinelli, Ben White, all these guys, Gabriel Magalhaes, and
should we start with that?
Working together. We don't need a captain. We don't need one individual captain. We have a team full of leaders now, in my opinion.
Shall we start there? Who should be the captain?
Arsenal captain. Let's go.
Look, Arsenal captains in the modern game are literally irrelevant these days. It's not the same as it was 20 years ago. You have a leadership group of senior players. Is how it works. The captains are a dressing room thing. I don't think we as fans should really. I don't know if you agree with me, Squire, but for me, it's very much a case of, look, the dressing room decides the captain, and if the dressing room is happy, they decide, they vote, and they coalesce around a captain. And you can see from our recruitment that the whole point of our last window was to recruit leaders that can take us forward for 5 to 7 years. So I don't care who it is, to be honest. It could be Ramsdale for all I care. The question yeah.
Well, to me, I don't want to disagree, but I will disagree with you because I think I agree with it. I actually agree with 50% of what you said. I agree that that it is definitely something in the changing rooms and everything like that. However, the captain is the person that speaks to the referee on the field. Right, we have a massive problem with discipline with our players on the pitch. I don't care. We can talk about that in another show, but I don't. But this, to me, is a huge. It's a reason why we've managed to step up a gear. Is definitely because we've got cojones and we don't lie down anymore, right? And we the reason why we've got so many tackles that are registered and all these stats. There's so many stats about us. But we do have a discipline issue. And you need to have, when you have a discipline issue, when it all starts kicking off, you can't be Man United and put 9 players around the referee. You need one person that can go to that referee and talk the talk with the ref and calm it down and then turn to his players. Now, I would love it to be Ramsdale to be our captain, but the problem is he's at the end of, well, normally he's at the end of the pitch. He likes to go up to the halfway line, which does my nutting. But so it needs to be somebody who's eloquent and calm-headed. Now, Granit Xhaka has been proven to be neither of those things, right? I'm not a Xhaka lover, but you know he's there, and there's let's not even worry about. Let's not talk about that. But Xhaka's obviously not the man. He's not the man. Now Laka definitely is very, very good. He's calm. He's heady. He's always in the business. But he's not going to be there at the end of the season. He's not re-signing. They're going to bring someone else in. You can't give the captaincy a new striker. It has to be somebody that's in that team that is still going to be sitting around. Then you start looking at, well, Kieran Tierney. Everybody's going KT. Look, he's so strong. He's a driver. He's a captain. At the end of the day, I don't know if he's the eloquent guy that can go and talk to a captain and have a chat with him, right? To me, I think people would turn around and say, well, you know, Smith Rowe, Saka, are they too young to take it over? What's going on? Is it too much pressure for Saka? No, don't think it should be Saka. I think the people that are in that list, the problem is Smith Rowe is still very, very young. I can see him being an Arsenal captain in the future, but he still literally is a kid. He lives at home with his mum. Do you know what I mean?
He does,
right?
Actually, yeah.
You know, and Ben White, absolutely. I think he's eloquent. I think he's really good at communicating with these refs. I think he's calming. I think he could be the guy. Because I'm talking about the captain on the pitch, right? We can have all the captains we want in the you know, at the end of the day, it's you're the Arsenal captain, or he's Ben White's not an Arsenal captain, you know. Well, on the pitch, he could be the captain on the pitch, right? But then you have your 5 captains who do all their work on the training ground and everyone's chatting, you know. That's my personal opinion. It needs to be, I mean, Odegaard, yes, could be the guy. But then again, I don't know if he's the guy to get into a really heavy discussion and be pushing players away and saying, listen, you go back over there. You're not going to get a yellow card. I'm not having you go in at the referee. You know, squad. You know, sorting out our players in those melees to calm it down. I think the problem with Kieran Tierney is he would just turn around and just probably punch the ref, punch one of our players, and it would be 2 yellows and a red. You know what I mean?
I mean, did you see him at the end of the game?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, do you want it? Do you want it? I'm here. Come to me. Do you know what I mean? The guy is, he's a great captain. He's a Tony Adams style captain. Yeah. But in the modern game, you've got to have someone that's diplomatic and, as I said, eloquent and diplomacy to go up and just calm the situation, completely calm it down.
Here's my options. Obviously, I hear the Ramsdale situation. I think Martin Odegaard is looked as somebody who's a leader on the pitch based on the way that he plays. And I think Ben White is also another person who's looked as a leader. But I feel like people would say Gabriel Magalhaes is a shout before Ben White, in my opinion, because of the fact that he's been here 1 year earlier. And even though he's Brazilian, I think he speaks perfect English. So I would think he would be fine to do that role. But at this moment in time, I'm not saying Martin Odegaard is a perfect captain, but he is showing that he has certain captain qualities, and he might be the guy that Mikel Arteta trusts to be the captain next season. I'm not sure. It could be Kieran Tierney. It could be him. But as you said, with the injury issues with Kieran Tierney, it's still up in the air with who's going to be the leader and who's going to be the captain. Per Mertesacker was a captain of the club. He was injured the whole season, so it could be Kieran Tierney too.
Yeah, but also think about who's going to be who's our centre backs next season.
Gabriel.
It'll be 3 of them, won't it?
Yeah,
it'll be Gabriel and Ben White, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I think Saliba will have to force his way in.
Okay, all right, okay. But Saliba will get in there. He will get in there. And 100%. I think then it'll be Saliba, Ben White. I just think, you know, and maybe Champions League, it will be Gabriel and Ben White or whatever, you know, because you got to think we're going to be playing so many more, hopefully, playing so many more games next year. And that's why we need a squad. And then you just think about if we get Gnabry comes back from Bayern Munich and comes in the team, right? Starts throwing it around, and you got Smith Rowe back.
We're gonna get there.
Easy.
But
what I'm saying is,
what about Thomas Partey?
this is the reason why picking a captain is not that easy. We don't have the facts yet, guys. This is the point. This is all speculation, because at the end of the day, we need a captain like a Tony Adams. It's going to play. He's going to be first name on the sheet. Okay, it's Tony Adams. He plays every game, so he's the club captain. We need somebody. We need a pitch captain, right? This is what I'm saying. And the idea of having a captain who is injured all season or whatever, well, that's not a captain. We need someone who is going to be the person that's going to diffuse a situation. You watched that Champions League game.
Who's your
Liverpool.
shout? Is it Ben White for you? Because I need to move on, because there's.
I'll go Ben White. I'm going to go Ben White.
What about yourself?
I mean, I can see your points. That I can see what Score Guy is saying about on the pitch, but on the pitch, I would have to say either Ben White, maybe Thomas Partey. Odegaard is obviously a massive set shout. I'd go Odegaard personally, but the question is how much is he going to play in terms of, because we saw that at the beginning of the season he sort of rotates them a lot with Smith Rowe. Is he going to be someone that's always going to be starting? He is starting right now, so the question is what will happen going forward. We'll discuss the system that we're playing right now as well for the Watford game. So maybe Partey for me, or Ben White is a good shout as well.
Right. Okay. So just before we go back to the Watford game, I want to shout out Partey, winning Player of the Month. Absolutely killing it this last month. I think he has gone levels up ever since he's had his interview where he said he held accountability for himself, saying he's been performing lower than his expected ways, and even rated himself a 4 out of 10. And since then, he's been, in my opinion, maybe not 10 out of 10, but close to it. I've even given him one game. I think he had a 9. I gave him a 9 in my player ratings. So Thomas Partey, let's just a couple quick words about Thomas Partey, then we'll and link it to the Watford game if you want, because we're gonna move on from here. Talk to me, Score Guy.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what a revelation! I mean, he's had his injuries. He had his AFCON. He came back. He imploded. He brought back too quickly. Was still jet lagged. Didn't know where he was. Literally, did something stupid. And I was just thinking, oh my God, this is just gonna destroy our. We've got 2 midfielders now. They're just going to be sent off they're literally losing their heads. And he's brought it around. He literally has created something all on his own. I mean, I'm sure Arteta's got in his mind, but at the end of the day, his mentality, he's brought something to himself. And you could see that in the Watford game. And the thing about the Watford game is that is a game that we would have probably not just drawn, but probably lost a couple of seasons ago, right? And he was in there. Outstanding performance, and I can see why he's been given Player of the Month. And I'm really glad that he's gone to him, because it's so obvious that it's going to go to Saka, or it's going to go to Smith Rowe, it's going to go to Odegaard. There's all these people that it normally goes to, and it's just perfect that he's getting the backing, from the fans.
If Odegaard does become captain, it does not mean Haaland's coming to Arsenal. There's still Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Is that someone just tweeted that?
All we know is Haaland's not going to Chelsea. He might end up going to City, though. That's one thing we know today.
Listen. Never say never. We never know. Listen, you never know. I remember I was flying back from Bali. I'd been on holiday. I was in Kuala Lumpur Airport. It was back in the day. I went into. I was in some room somewhere. It had the internet. I went on there. I watched this press conference, and Sol Campbell walked into the room. Do you know what I mean? And there was Wenger. No, I'm talking about in the press conference. Wenger brought Sol Campbell in the day we brought Sol Campbell from Tottenham, and I was in the airport. In fact, I was in the airport in Kuala Lumpur buying my groceries to get delivered to my house when I got home. Do you know what I mean? And I literally thought, I'll just check the Arsenal website, and there it is. I'm watching Sol Campbell, and I literally was screaming in this room. I couldn't understand. So honestly, if anyone is ever linked to anybody, I just think I've seen it all. When Sol Campbell signed for Arsenal, anything can happen, guys. So just believe that. Anything can happen.
I was too young to understand what was happening. but let's just quickly move on. Corinne, you want us to talk about the game, Watford, and bring us into Thomas Partey and move us on to Bukayo Saka's improvement, because I want to talk about that.
Okay, so first of all, what we can see from Thomas Partey this month is how he's adapted to being that lone 6. He's been in the pivot for most of his time at Arsenal, and he's actually taken this role of running progression, taking the load off Ben White, getting it from from the first to the second third of the pitch and getting it into the players that we need to get it into. He's done it very well. He's always been very good at winning his duels. You can see how well he is at winning his one-on-one duels, making sure to shield the ball, not committing fouls, making sure that you have players running in transition, not getting past him. The issue that has occurred, which is perfect for Watford, is when you have a 4-3-3, which we're playing right now, you have one man in transition when you're coming back, because what happens is your two eights, as in so Granit Xhaka and Martin Odegaard are higher up the pitch, and you don't have two people there. So when you have an Ismail Assar, which who didn't play, but Emmanuel Dennis, these kinds of players, they can gang up on you and sort of run past you. And Thomas, what he did brilliantly is cover space at a brilliant level, able to win his duels, able to stop transitions, and able to basically stop us from being exposed, basically. And especially in the first half, I think he tired as the game went on. It led to, with Granit, which we'll get into, Granit didn't track his runner for the second goal, which led to the Ben White miss error. There's different issues with the system, but about Thomas and the player of the month, completely deserved, completely ran that Wolves game. His ability to pass from the centre into the final third, or just make a dribble and get into the final third, or just distribute so Saka and Odegaard can rotate off each other and create space for the other person, is at an incredible level. He's one of the best in the league, if not the best at doing it. Is the way he's able just to pass through the lines and get our players into where they need to be. And that's what I've always wanted him as more of an 8, as a higher in the role, because I feel like if you can get him doing that more often, which is why I've always said, cough, cough, we should go for Declan Rice, which is more of a defensive minded player that we can able to allow him to get higher. But for Thomas, it's his ability to break lines with such efficiency that allows us to get our players where they need to be. So next time you watch the Leicester game, watch how Saka and Odegaard are able to find space because Thomas is able to break a tackle or just ride a tackle. And that's what he did very well in this Watford game.
Okay. Now I just wanted to move on to Thomas Partey, all the way from Thomas Partey to Bukayo Saka's improvements, because I feel like this is a big part of our future. Bukayo Saka has been integral to how we're playing this season. He's been our best player, and as even rival fans are now saying, if he was in their team, he'd probably be their best player. Let's be honest. Bukayo Saka has been performing that well that if he was in certain teams in this league that have much better players than us at this moment in time, he would still be showing mentality-wise that he's their best player. I think Mark Goldbridge even spoke about the mentality of bouncing back after missing the penalty that he missed.
He did.
And statistically this season, he's hitting numbers that a lot of people questioned if he could hit. So in 2022, if you're still calling him a potential world-class left back and not a good winger, you need to fix yourself, because clearly you're not watching football. And if you're still making fun of the players over goals and assists, you're not watching the game. Because Bukayo Saka, I said this on the Football Terrace and I got laughed at. When it comes to pure impact for Arsenal, the amount of players he's drawing in, the amount of people he's bringing towards him, and the amount of attention he has during the 90 minutes on himself, he almost has the same amount of impact for Arsenal as some of the best players in other teams do, such as like Eden Hazard did for Chelsea. When he drew so much players to him, so much focus was on him, it almost opens up the whole game for other players. For example, the first goal for Odegaard, there's no way that defender would have been so lazy on the ball and not track the runner if he didn't realize Bukayo Saka might have need help doubling up on Bukayo Saka, which left Odegaard wide open for that first pass, and then he slotted away with a beautiful goal. So I want to talk to you guys. Bukayo Saka, how good has he been this season? And is it sustainable? Because people have been saying it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Guess what?
I think it's totally sustainable. I think the guy, Saka, I've made it quite clear that I've loved this guy since the very beginning. He is, look at him. I mean, he's the man for me personally. I just think what it's been well documented what happened in the summer. It's history now. It's ancient history. He's made it ancient history regarding his ability now. what had happened in the past with Saka was that he used to do everything he's doing now, but he never used to finish. He was always struggling in actually putting the ball in the net. And over the last few games, he's the one player at Arsenal now that so many times, Lacazette does it, Aubameyang used to do it. They get into positions, they shoot, but they literally just drive it at the keeper. It's literally at the keeper every single time. Saka really has that ability now. His goal that he scored, the way that he was able to shift and then bang it top right, absolutely brilliant. He puts the ball in a place that the goalkeeper will not get it. That is how you score goals. That is what we haven't had at Arsenal for many years. It's the ability, it's the Henry-esque style of actually putting the ball somewhere where you put that there. It doesn't matter if you have two goalkeepers in there. No one's saving that. And that is the ability that young man has got. And as for sustainability, as long as we don't burn him out and as long as we give him the breaks, and again, it's great that this season we have only had, we haven't been pushed. We dropped out of the FA Cup immediately. Real shame. We did a little bit of business in the Carabao Cup, but we've had the Premier League and no Europe. That has kept him to not to be burnt out. My fear for Saka, and it is a fear, is that the next season we're going to have to really look after that guy, because hopefully we're going to have Champions League, but right in the middle of Champions League there's going to be a World Cup, and that is going to burn some of our British players. And for some reason, I don't know how this has happened, we could put 5 or 6 players into the England team and we didn't used to have anybody in there, right? We're going back to days of Seaman, Dixon, Winterburn, Tony Adams, all these people from way back, and we've now literally got the core of England, and they're all going to go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Exactly, and they're all going to go there and give it a go, and they're all going to come back, and we're going to have to rest them, because they're going to be driven. And I'm really concerned that the World Cup is going to impact our season next year. I know it's another story, and it's a fact. Okay, it's in the future, but I do believe that the one thing we can talk about Saka is that we need to be he needs to be man-managed, and that's why we need to start bringing in, as we know, lots more players next season, because I think Saka still next year cannot be overworked. The way he plays, we cannot overwork that guy. He's still very young, but look what happened to Michael Owen and people like that. He can burn
100%.
players out forever. Yeah. That's my take.
It's a great take.
Yeah.
The main thing I would say about Bukayo, and if people followed me on Twitter, they will know I've been calling him the franchise since the beginning of last year. He's the man. He's the man in our team. He's one of my friends usually calls him. People treat him like Michael Jordan. They put Jordan type the defense on. They put 3 or 4 men on him at times, because they know what he brings to the team and what he's improved. As well as his ball strike, as David so eloquently put it, he has improved his ability to strike a ball as well as positioning of where to strike a ball. If you notice, David already said it. It's either side. It's not, one in the middle. He's finding the corners with efficiency. And the other thing he's doing very well is he's aggressive. He's able to hit the ball first time. He doesn't take that first touch into Odegaard. He doesn't go, okay, touch, and then hits it. He goes first time, bang, finds Odegaard.
Confidence. And
the ability to know that I know where my man's going to be. I know that guy is making that rotation, and that's how I'm going to find him.
He works the triangles. He works the triangles
so well. And his ability to not only create for himself, but create for others is ridiculous. And the other point that Skorga made very, very well is you have to look at, we've all been talking about the left wing as like our major issue, because we're putting Emil there, we're putting Gabby there, we're putting lots of players there. What we need is a combo winger backup, someone on either side that can play, fill in the role. So Kof, someone we're going to bring up later, can play both sides on the wings. So that for me is a major issue. And let's count them. Ramsdale's definitely going. White's definitely going. I don't care what anyone says. White is going. Tyrone Mings, just get off. I don't want to hear it. Who else is going to go? So Saka will go. Emil will go. That's 4.
KT might go. Scotland might go.
Scotland might go. Yeah, I mean, you never know because they're in the playoff, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
So
Odegaard might go if they're really good.
yeah, so this is a lot of players are going to go. So my issue now is firstly, I mean, I'm not going to do a whole transfer.
Rice is going to go. Rice will be going. We'll have him, so he'll be going.
Well, Rice will be going. Rice will. No, but the thing is, no Chelsea, right? They're not going. He's not going to Chelsea.
No.
And United have Ragnick, who won't get. He's not Ragnick's type of player.
And he
won't go to City. He won't go to City.
They have Rodri, and they have that other guy in their academy.
Yeah.
And he won't go Liverpool because Liverpool.
And he's not going Spurs, is he?
No, he's not going to go Spurs.
They don't have money. They don't have money.
Well, they're not in anything, you know. What I want to know is, can I say these sanctions have been put on Chelsea, right? And they you know, obviously we're talking about they're not going to be able to win any leagues. When did Spurs get sanctions put on them? In like 1962? Was that when they got the sanctions? Have they not lifted those sanctions on Spurs? Do you know what I mean?
They're never going to.
They are their own sanctions.
They are their own. Look, we're now going to get into Arsenal's transfer plans, guys. If you haven't heard, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of some of the things we're going to discuss. And the way we're going to do this is going to be a quick fire round, right? So. Okay. Arsenal transfer news. There has been news circulating around certain players Arsenal will be linked to over the past couple of weeks. Once again, we are linked to the same old stories, such as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, such as Isak, such as Jonathan David. But there has been some new stories that have come to light. So let's get into it. The first story is everyone has seen the picture of Serge Gnabry. That was on Prime Video. I don't know if there's a documentary or something, but this was a hint that he could be making a return to the Emirates. So I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think it's a possibility that he could be returning to the Emirates? Would you take him? Because personally, in my opinion, he would be perfectly suited to the freestyle play of football that we currently are having. The fact that we could use him on both flanks, the fact that he would give us more options in our attack, and dare I say it, if we ever get into a situation where we needed to do like some sort of magical situation where we get a false nine that is really efficient, he could be that 20-goal scoring winger for us. I'm just saying. Anyways, I'm gonna throw it to Score Guy first because he seems so eager to get on to.
Listen, 100 million, 1,000%. I totally want this guy back at the club. It's unfinished business. If you look at the quality he has, people bring back players. Lukaku comes back, Ronaldo comes back. This guy is the guy. He's going to come back. If he comes back, talking about bringing Ramsey back and all these things, this is the guy. This guy is going to come back, and he's going to, if and when he comes back, he's going to make the difference. And our team the squad is so thin now because we've cleared the decks. We're going to be on 4 fronts. We're going to be in the Champions League, and we're going to need quality of someone who's going to come in, and everyone's going to look around, and they're going to look at this guy and what he's done at Bayern, and they're going to look at him and think, yeah, and it's going to be the lift that we need. And as you say, the versatility and the quality to be able to play him in different positions, and he'd be starting. He'd be starting. He really would be. He'd make them all buck up. He really would. And like you say, he can play anywhere in the front 4. Really can. I mean, he can go anywhere you want. Really, he's that good. And I don't think he'll struggle with the Premier League at all. I think he'll come back. I think it might be a little bit different for him. But the German league, playing for Bayern, it would be a little bit of a wake up call, and he'd have to come in a bit slowly. But I think for the Champions League, he could be absolutely perfect.
You don't need 2 strikers if you bring in Gnabry. Gnabry's goal will basically replace Aubameyang. Now we just need that false 9 or that link-up play striker to replace Lacazette, in my opinion. And it saves us money. There's people in the comment section saying Gnabry is a lot like ESR. Honestly, fits right in. Would rather 100 million center forward than a 60 million center forward, and Gnabry, he's amazing. So yeah, there you go. You'd rather get Gnabry and a 60 million center forward than spend 100 million on a dud. And majority of center forwards that you spend a lot of money on, they are flops. Let's be honest. But let's go to Karim. Karim, what do you think about Gnabry returning to Arsenal?
Well, firstly, look, I want to talk about this. It will come on to Gnabry, but the first thing I'm going to talk about is the striker issues, because I'm hearing so many people say 2 strikers, we need 2 strikers. Do you know how many strikers we have at the club? Scott, I'm going to ask you as well. Do we know how many strikers we have at the club?
You've already asked me this.
I think we've got maybe 2.
We've got 6.
Really? I mean, well, okay, go on. Well, who at the club? When you say at the club,
I mean at the club. I'm talking about academy.
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
We have 6 strikers, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, obviously,
about a ridiculous amount of profiles.
Look, we got my man Balogun, who to me is absolutely there. I mean, he's already. He had to go out on loan. But listen, the guy was thrown into that Norwich game in the first game of the season, and he got absolutely ripped apart for it, right? And the guy it was just too soon. But the guy's got ability. I mean, the German teams have been after Balogun for like the last 2 years. I mean, he's got the ability. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we do have more. I was thinking. I just thought you were talking about who we got in our squad now.
I understand. My whole thing is, and this will tie into Serge. Don't worry, I'm not just going off the point, Miguel. We have people like we have Balogun. We've got Mika Bereth, who will go on the loan next year. We've got Tyrese John Jules. We've got Keon Edwards. We've got Gabby as well, who is obviously seemed that he wants to play as striker. And obviously, at the moment, we have Eddie and Alex. Okay. My whole thing is the whole thing. We need 2 strikers. We have so many strikers and so many different profiles of strikers that. Oh, and I forgot we have Muller as well. But we have so many strikers. My whole thing is we have very little wing depth. We have very little wing depth. We've got Keto. We've got Amari. We've got obviously ESR, Saka. The normal guys, but we're very low on wing depth. So bringing in someone like Serge, who can combo up on both wings, gives you a massive amount of options. And I'm talking, and obviously Tyrese has had a very poor season this season in terms of injuries, and he's not played well for Blackpool. Obviously, he's someone that's going to come up and go back on loan next year. But we're talking about depth in position right now. We have a lot. So 2 strikers to me doesn't seem very good. I think 1 striker and a winger, a combo winger can play either side, sets us up so well for the future, and sets us up for this whole cycle that we're doing in the next 3, 4, 5 years. So that's just me. Serge is perfect for that. Absolutely perfect for that.
Totally. Yeah.
You gonna go?
Sorry, guys, I was on mute. Moving on to the next one. Just out of curiosity, we've been linked to a Manchester United winger who I want nothing to do with, but just out of curiosity, I had to throw it in the video. Marcus Rashford is linked to Arsenal. Any takers here? Because I personally want to stay far away from him. I feel like he hasn't developed at all since he's come into a Manchester United team. He has developed goals a little bit, but when it comes to his actual footballing intelligence and ability to link up play and change positions, he's not able to play unless the center forward is moving out of his way, creating more space for him to run in behind. And I feel like his coaching, if he was given the right coaching, he would work in the right system. But I don't think he would be too much of a liability. And I don't want to buy any players from Manchester United and help their transfer kitty for the next summer. So that's another reason. What do you guys think?
You go first, David.
Well, as again, never say never in football. My point with Rashford is, we all remember when he made his debut and he absolutely destroyed us, right? Very Rooney-esque. He came on, banged 2. It was just literally, I mean, he was amazing. He was amazing. And he has the capability, but I also think, I feel sorry for him because he's very young. He decided that he wanted to be a politician and not a footballer, and he did amazing things for the country. And I think I take my hat off to him for at a young age to get the government to change twice their policy on things and help school kids with their food and whatever. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. However, I think the changes that have happened at Man United have destroyed his career. And I think he's been going downhill now for a year. Now, you can put it down to the way he's played, the way he's managed and whatever. There's something there that isn't quite right. And I think because we have a limited budget at Arsenal, I think the players we buy need to be able to come in and there can't be any question over them. And so for that reason, Rashford, I can't see coming to this club for two reasons. Well, as you said, I don't want to give Man United the price of a coffee, and I don't want their rubbish coming our way of players, and I don't think we've got time to retrain and reprogram Rashford's mind to get that Man United out of him. And sadly, he'll go to something where like Palace or someone like that, or even Spurs. But I can't.
He might go PSG, you know.
Well, I mean, listen, there's quality there, and of course, again, he's a big name, and yeah, they you know, he's a Man United player at the end of the day, and so teams like that will take him. But I just think at the moment we don't have the time to really have someone like that. There's other people in the Premier League that would be better fitted to us than he is.
Okay. Did you have anything to add on this, Karan?
Yeah, I mean, there's three quick points. One, the issues that he's had. I mean, look, we've all laughed at Man United. I've laughed more than most because I did say blah blah blah. Their whole thing with them is the leaks, and the issues that we've seen with Rashford, and every time something goes wrong with him, the amount of media hoopla around it, the amount of media issues around it, it's just I don't trust it. I don't trust it right now, and I just feel like we've just managed to get away from that whole player-centric, one-player focus side of Arsenal. We've actually got them as a collective. We feel like as a team again. I just don't like that sort of environment right now to bring it in. It's a bit of a risk. Second is the profile. I mean, he's worked always best as a left inside forward. He's never really been that out and out 9, and that's kind of what we need right now. It's not really the same profile that I would want. And the third thing is the first part of it is his wages. I don't know what he'd want, and the second is the amount of pressure that he would be in the squad. Because you're making that massive move. Is it going to have like a similar thing that Mkhitaryan had with us? It's very much a case of why it doesn't really make much sense. You pulled up a comment. I'm just going to answer this. I'm not saying we don't need a striker. We need a striker, but buying in 2 strikers for a squad that has striking prospect. I'm not saying start Balogun. I'm saying start the striker you buy and use Balogun as rotation for next year. And you have Marcelli as a third option there next year. You do have the depth there. I'm not saying just start, we just chuck Balogun in or chuck Tyrese in. There's a difference.
Okay, guys, since we've gone a lot over our time on the Chelsea thing, I don't want to end it here, but we're going to have to be quick fire with the next couple of points. Arsenal have been linked to seven or 8 players on the Arsenal's Gunners list.
I've seen the list.
We've already spoken about Broja and all these things. So if you guys don't know the list, I'm gonna name individual players that I think are on the list, and then we're gonna go through it. 1 second. Right now it's 107. First player on the list, Ruben Neves is one of the first players on the list. I want to know, does he fit the profile, and do you think he's one of the players that we should be going for? I'll start with you, Karan.
Not the correct profile, not the correct profile, not as quick as we need. Someone that struggles on transition, not for me.
No, I 100% agree. Yeah.
100%? Okay, so Ruben Neves a no. Youri Tielemans.
I'm not having Fatmans on my team. No, thank you.
No, I just think not good enough. Not good enough. Just not good enough.
Okay, and then Douglas Luiz is another one.
Again, not good enough.
Again, these names are not jumping. They're not killing me.
So none of these names. When it comes to Douglas Luiz, Tielemans, and Neves, honestly, I think all of them are upgrades on El Neni, but I don't think we're buying them to be upgrades on El Neni. I think we're buying them to replace Granit Xhaka. And at this moment in time, I think Douglas Luiz defensively, I understand, but overall, I don't know if he's a good replacement or an upgrade on Granit Xhaka. Tielemans, attacking-wise, he's good. Defensively, he's a liability. And Ruben Neves is probably the name that I would most likely be taking out of the 3. If I had to pick one, it would be Ruben Neves for me. Who would it be for you guys?
It would be Tielemans, just because his on the ball work, his ability to link play is much better than Ruben is, and Ruben his ability to track back doesn't supersede Tielemans' ability on the ball. I think
Okay.
Tielemans probably out of those three, but I still think all of them shouldn't be anywhere near us.
Okay. Just to let you guys know, Lacazette has been linked away from the club to Juventus. So we will need to sign a striker replacement. Just so everyone knows, Lacazette has been linked away to Juventus. Do you think Juventus would be a good fit for him? Just before we get into the striker roles.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. I think it's the right level for him to go to.
He's
And I hope he does really well. I hope he does really well.
I hope he does well, but Vlahovic, they've just signed Vlahovic. Like,
no, he's replacing Morata. He's replacing Morata. That's
but the thing is, for me, if for someone in the end of his career, why wouldn't he just go back to France where he knows he can start? It doesn't make sense to go back to be a backup for Juventus. Even so, like I'm sure he'd get paid at Lyon or something.
Yeah, but he'll go there eventually. He'll go to Juventus for a couple of years, 2 years, and then he'll still go back to France. I think he's had a good season, and I think he's got the fire in his belly from being with us, and I think he wants to go and Juve Champions League maybe, and give it that go and be admired and playing Italy. And I think that's fair play to him. I mean, I think it's a real shame that we'll lose him. I love the guy. I think he's really made a difference, Lacazette, this season. With him, I think he's stepped up massively since Aubameyang's left, and he's driving it. He's really driving it. The last few games we've done so well. I mean, that Wolves game, those last 20 minutes, my God, he was driving that team across the line. Totally. And it will that Wolves game will always be the game. It will always be Lacaz's game, and it will always be Lacaz's moment. I mean, without a doubt, as we go forward and we look back on Lacaz's career. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna quickly move us on. As you guys can see on the top of the in the discussion section, it's saying what our next topic is going to be. Lacazette. We've spoken about Lacazette, but now we need to figure out what Arteta's ideal striking option will be. And there's been a lot of names being thrown about. So I'm just going to throw out the first name, and I'm going to do it in a span of pictures. So you guys let me know. Thumbs up or thumbs down.
God.
Here we go.
And people in the comment, let me know if you agree or disagree. The first person is Lautaro Martinez. So
hell no.
Okay, why?
Hell no.
Explain.
Did you if anyone saw that Inter Milan game, Martinez ran from Van Dijk for about 70 minutes. Literally ran away from Van Dijk for 70 minutes. He had a great goal, fair play to him, but not for me. I don't think it fits the profile. I don't feel like it fits the quality. And for the price that it would be, hell no. He just signed a new contract. I'm not paying 75, 80 mil for Lautaro Martinez. Not for me.
Also, can I say that Arsenal now, we need to be. I mean, Arteta's good at this, but I think we've also got to realise that we need to be very careful that we don't suddenly start bringing in too many egos into this club of characters that are going to start destabilising what we've done and what we've built. And this guy is an ego on legs, right? And again, and I just think it's about fitting players into the team. It's not about now bringing in players that are going to change and do. We need to make sure this machine is working, and we just need to add the other bits of the machine. It's not suddenly taking the whole top of the machine off and changing all this. They need to come in and slot in, and I don't think this guy has got the minerals to come and do that at all.
I see what you did there with the Chelsea mineral joke.
Yeah.
We got Harvey Price saying yes, Cam saying no. I don't think Lautaro is technical ability replaces what Alexis Sanchez did, but goal scoring, he's class. He was semi-injured in that game, says Harvey. You want to respond?
Quickly, I'm just going to address the comment before. No. I mean, Sora, you can agree with me on this. I'm sure you can back me up on this. How many times in when we had Alexis there, did half the team go to with Alexis when he scored, and half the team just wanted back? How many times did we have him having issues with the squad? The amount of times that we had issues with in terms of what he did. I love Alexis Sanchez and I love what we did, but my whole thing is, at this moment in time, the culture is it's good, it's nice, it's good. Why are we trying to just bring in players that are high risk, high reward potential right now? It's just not the way I would go with it. And in terms of it being injured, that's fine, but it's not the first time. I've watched this guy for over a season and a half. You can go back to my old tweets. I said last season when we were linked with him, not for 70 million. I'd rather get Tammy for 35 than Lautaro for 70. Yeah, how many 70 million pound signings in the Premier League have banked? It's Van Dijk.
I'm gonna have to come back, but I'm gonna throw this one on the table. You guys, let me know what you think about these two, because I've already given my takes on these two numerous times.
You go first. Let's go. I'm pretty certain of what I'm going to say here.
Oh my God! I mean, no, not really. I mean, the problem you've got is buying anybody from Everton now. It's just, let's see what. I think they're going to see that they're going to fall apart, and I just think you're buying players that have got no confidence whatsoever. And I just think again, injury prone. No, it's both of them. No,
both of them. Interesting. So for me, Isak is a no, but DCL I would say yes, because
no.
I'll tell you. Let me tell you why. Go
on.
DCL, right? 90% of DCL's chances are inside the box. He's a great focal point. He's someone that we will get on the cheap from Everton due to the sanctions, whatever, if they go down, whatever goes on there. He's someone we'll get for about 30 mil, maybe 35 mil. For that price, it's a bit of a steal. And if you look at players
if you get a fire sale on him and get him cheap, right? Then yes, I think he possibly could work out, because he's got Premier League
Premier League experience. There's no adaptation. He's already adapted. Like him and Ramsdale have played together at every single level. They have that ability to hit. Ramsdale hit the long kicks, DCL knocked them down. They already have that dynamic going on. He has the ability, and I'll tag you in it when we finish this. If you look at DCL, he's one of the most efficient players inside the box in terms of headers, in terms of actually getting that 6-yard ability. And how many times have we had? We remember, like in the first half of the season, we had the Aubameyang ball striking drought that we had, for example, Newcastle, Watford. Amount of times cutbacks and things, and we just couldn't finish them. That's his bread and butter. So I do think 35, maybe 40. It's worth it. I mean, I just think that
I wouldn't go to 40. The thing is, I don't know how much money we're gonna have to spend in the summer. Maybe 100, maybe 120. I've heard rumours. I think spending 40 on him would only leave us 80 to fill the other points, and I think that would be too much. If we can get a fire sale on him and get him cheap and get him below 30, and they're desperate, and he wants out. Because if they get relegated, then we'll get him for 10.
So
he'll walk. But I just think 40 would then suddenly become 45. He's going to want high wages. He's going to want this. He's going to want that. We've got to remember that it's we're not Chelsea. We're not. You say we're not Chelsea. Chelsea aren't Chelsea anymore.
Chelsea aren't Chelsea. Yeah.
You're Chelsea. We're Chelsea aren't Chelsea. But we're not. We're not a club that can afford to go and start. We need to build this. We've done very, very well in clearing our decks out and clearing the budget of and the people that are coming in now. They're going to need to toe that line even more. And because we're going on a slow build, especially unless Kroenke decides he wants to start throwing money around properly now, because he sees that he wants to be the top. I mean, I know it goes back to Chelsea again, but if Kroenke decides that he realises that we can be the biggest team in London and sustain a London sustainability, he might go for it and think, do you know what I mean? That's good, and we want to really push on from that. And it's going to be very interesting to see how much money we have in the summer to spend. If it's 120, he might decide that Champions League, you've done it very well, you've cleared your decks. Chelsea have stumbled. We've got a slot to go in. We can make a run of the Champions League. Let's invest more, And it could be that yes, we could branch out and get DCL for 40 million or whatever. But I just think I haven't seen this full list, you see, so it's very hard for me to start picking.
What about Isak? Did you already speak?
Not for the price. Not for that price. We both said no. Just the last thing I'm going to say is just one really quickly, Gal. I just want to reiterate: we've cleared out 800,000 per week in terms of wages just off this, we'll have if we do make Champions League, which is looking increasingly likely, there will be a windfall from that. So the transfer budget will, be adjusted for that. So, and especially with what you just mentioned, Squawka, about how with Chelsea's troubles, if you looked at how, obviously I don't like making comparisons with other teams, but if you look at how when in LA, when Kroenke, the Kroenke's Rams team, when they had the ability to see that there was an opportunity to make that final move and go into all in, I don't see why that. If there is precedent from KSC that they will see, if they see an opportunity, then they will go for it, and they really think that they will go for it. So if there is an opportunity, I don't see why we wouldn't have maybe even a 180, 190 million pound window. It's very much
Haaland.
Okay, let me just stop you there and move on to Jonathan David is the next one. Personally, for me, it's a no. Even as a Canadian, I just don't think he's the right profile of player for us. And I think it's a move too soon. I think at this moment in time, I don't know. I fully don't trust Jonathan David as a player who can impact the game throughout the 90 minutes. And in the positions that he picks up the majority of the time, it's almost like he is at the end of great play from the rest of his team, and he's not really creating any chances on his own. So it's a big no for me. What do you guys think?
No, man.
Can I ask a question? He plays in a Canadian team at the moment, yeah?
Yeah, he's the best player on the team right now.
Yeah, okay. So I'll put it from the other side. If I was Kroenke, I'd be thinking, yeah, that's nice. Get him in. That's Canadian connection, Canadian sales, Canadian shirts. He's a North American, Canadian. Yeah, we should have him in the team. I'm thinking, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I could think he would be someone that the marketing media part of Arsenal would be thinking, yeah, let's bring him in and see what he can do. Not as a main player. If we could get him on a decent, 20 million or something, nothing crazy, and he comes in and he's around the squad, and we can say he's an Arsenal player and whatever. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. It's a no from me, but it wouldn't surprise me that he doesn't come.
Alphonso Davies is not playing football right now due to his back issue. So I don't.
Sorry, what?
Alphonso Davies is actually the best player when you actually think about it, but he's not playing football at this moment in time because of a back issue.
Oh, well, then he's definitely coming. We signed him already. If he's got a back issue, then he's coming, isn't he?
No. What I mean? Alphonso Davies is I think his fellow Canadian. The next is Darwin Nunez. If you guys don't know Darwin Nunez, he's 22 years old, Uruguayan footballer who plays for Benfica currently. This season, he has 20 goals in 21 games in the league. In the Champions League, has 3 goals in 7 games. In the Europa League, has 5 goals last season in 7 games. He has been lighting it up. I don't know what his exact play style is. I need to double check that again. But people are telling me he's very similar in the sense of like a false 9 striker role.
No,
am I mistaken? Okay.
He's more of a 9. It's a maybe for me. It's like the middle. Like I wouldn't mind. It's not something that I would be high up on, but I don't really call him a false 9. No, I would say he's very big. He's strong. He's someone with huge legs. I will say, if you've ever watched him try doing step over, it's the most hilarious thing as I've ever seen in my life. It's just this massive tray trunk legs just going over the ball one after the other. It's pretty funny. But I don't think I agree with. I'm not saying that now. I don't know how to say that here, but it's not really someone that would suit our play style as much. But it's sort of like I would take him like if other targets aren't available, side kind of thing. But I've only watched maybe 4 or 5 games. I'm not, because usually I watch 10 before I make judgments. So I'm not going to be like, oh, yes or no. I'm kind of in the middle. So maybe, because I'm in the middle of watching myself. So it's a maybe for me.
But his stats sound great, but I've never seen him. I have not watched him, so I can't really have an opinion. So
I will say, and I'll say this to the comments as well. Go and watch some comps and just watch him just do some step overs.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
It's the funniest thing.
Could do with a laugh.
It's quite funny.
And then finally, I will be going to the Leicester game, and I will be doing a match vlog. I don't know if you guys are going, but I'll see you guys there if you are going.
I'm trying.
I'll be there. Where'd you sit in the ground? Where's your spot?
I'm gonna be sitting, across block H.
I'm usually 110 if I go.
Wherever that is.
Right.
Okay.
I'm usually 110. I'm usually
I'm
110
lower.
if I
I'm
go.
lower block H, right on the halfway line.
Oh, on the far side.
Yeah.
Yeah, opposite the dugouts, other side.
Yeah, opposite.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Are you on the
I'm
side
usually-
of the dugout?
Yeah, I'm tucked in the corner. I'm in, the noisy section. That's where I am. Down block
Yeah.
4.
I usually
Yeah.
go 110. I like the higher view. It's just for I like the higher view just because I like seeing the game that way. It's easier on the eye for me, and I have friends there as well. So it's if I don't know if I can, but if I can, I will be there.
Okay.
Yeah,
so-
no, I'll be there. I'll be there definitely. 100%. I'll be there.
I mean, I knew
But
you.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Leicester game. I think
Yeah.
the banter's going to be great beforehand, discussing everything that's been going on. Just to say that Chelsea have gone 2 up. They were 1 up in 3 minutes, and Wolves are now 3 up, and Southampton are 1 up.
And the fans definitely cheered.
Lots of goals. But yeah, very much looking forward to Sunday. Great to see Smith Rowe's that's back in training. He's got over his illness, and yeah, and I put this all over my Twitter about Vardy. I do not believe the guy is injured. I just literally
Really.
He actually is injured this time.
I don't believe it at all. The guy will be sneaked
I get it.
He'll be on that team sheet, and
they'll pump him full of Red Bull or something.
Yeah. No, I mean literally. I mean his leg will have to be hanging off for it. I know people are saying he's out for a month. I don't believe that either. Unless age has got him, it's a massive ramifications that he's not going to play without a doubt. And I think we can do some damage against Leicester on Sunday.
Can I tell you something, score guy?
Yeah.
Fofana's out, Evans is out, Richardo's out, Justin's out, Castagna's out, Maddison's out, Vardy's out, Tielemans,
Madison's out.
Barnes are doubts.
Maddison is out.
Madison's out.
Yeah.
3-0.
No, I know.
Oh,
He's gone 3-0. He's gone 3-0.
Their team is a shell of itself.
Ooh, okay.
Sorry, guys, my laundry machine's on.
If there's no Vardy and no Madison, 3-0 easy done.
Oh,
Not
sorry.
even close.
I was trying to show you guys. Something. Let me zoom it in. This is a Leicester fan who sent me this on Twitter to tell me how many players of their team are actually out. He told me all these players are out. So from there, and then I asked him, "How's your record away from home?" And they said 1 win since October. So
I must admit, to me that looks like there'll be a COVID outbreak in Leicester tomorrow, and the game will be postponed. But
yeah, pretty much.
call me
players out.
Call me cynical. Call me cynical, but you never know. They'll, you never know with these things.
Let's do our lineups, and then we'll do our score predictions, and we're out. Thank you, score guy and Curran, for helping me out today. Let's be honest. Ramsdale's going to start, even though he was away from training.
So that's sponsorship duties, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, sponsorship duties. I see in the tweet from Connor. Tierney and Tomiyasu?
Tierney, yeah.
I'm still thinking.
Hopefully Tomiyasu on the bench. Let's hope Tomiyasu is on the bench.
I think Cedric will start. I'm not sure about. We haven't heard of anything. So
is it safe to say it's going to be an unchanged side?
I think you're going to fill that in very, very quickly. I think it's going to be literally unchanged. I think it will start exactly unchanged, and then I think Smith Rowe will be on the bench and he'll come on. Pepe, there'll be the usual changes around. I think we've got a bit of a system going now, but that could change because we've got the Liverpool game on Wednesday. So let's not think this through. If Leicester are so weak, then Arteta will look at it. He'll have the same information that you've just read out. He'll look at it thinking about Wednesday, and it might be a case of starting like that. What I prefer is that we start like that, go 2-3 up, and then make changes very, very quickly. Get Saka off, give other guys, get Odegaard off, get other guys on there, and see the game out, and nice 4-0 with lots of people being rested. That would be ideal.
1 second, Blaze said sorry, Curran. Blaze said we will play a 4-3-3. I don't think we're going to play a 4-3-3. We do
play a 4-3-3. We are already playing a 4-3-3.
I get that it's a 4-3-3, but the way we set up, we currently have it as we have it as Partey is the sole DM, and Odegaard and Saka roll higher, but it's still this kind of setup.
Yeah,
triangle in the middle. I'll tell you right now, it doesn't really, the TV formations, it doesn't really matter.
No, listen, do you not think, can I just say, TV, do you think this is the way they do these TV formations? They're just not the same, are they? Gone. That idea of TV formations gone, because the way that the triangles and the way that it will work, and during the game itself, the tactics change so quickly with players swapping over, and and I just think this whole idea of this 4-4-2 or 4-3 or whatever you want to say, those days are gone. I just think that good managers now can change the flow of the team and the tactics on the team so quickly. You see it all the time.
Miguel, if you want to be exact, we set up in a 4-4-2 block, 2-3-5 in the final phase. That's how it. Yeah. That's how you actually look at things.
Yeah, offensive, defensive.
Gabriel and White at the base of the two. Cedric will invert or he'll go wide. Same with Tierney, he'll either come in and invert or go wide, and that will form three with Partey, and either Odegaard will drop or Granit will drop, and then the five will be the five in the channels. So Granit and Odegaard in those two channels, Lacazette up top, Tierney and Cedric. That's how you set up, and it's quite simple. And the rotations, obviously, one player will drop into the three or go into the five, or one player will advance to the five. For example, Thomas will rotate into the five. There's a lot of different situations that you can have, but this whole thing of 4-2-3-1 versus 4-3-3, you play both. You do it. It's all dependent on game state. If the game dictates that you need to go more defensive, you pull your pivot back. And you have those two, basically, you have your two transition control players that can help when you duels in transition. So you can keep sustaining pressure. And the opposite way goes, if you need to grab a goal, you can push Xhaka up, and that way you can go as well. So it's very much in-game situations, in-game rotations. That's how you need to look at things.
And I tell you guys,
4-1 doesn't matter.
This is another game where we're going to score from a set piece, because Leicester's set piece defending is one of the worst.
It's like a penalty. It's like a penalty when you get a corner against them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, totally. Their going to corners are just shocking.
Also,
like, you remember the Gabriel one?
Their biggest strength is that through ball into space, and if they do, and Arsenal, the way we've been defending, I don't think we're susceptible to through balls at this moment in time. If you continuously try to do that, and you're gonna get cut out, because Ramsdale's gonna come high up to cut out the through ball, and you're gonna have our two defenders playing the way that they're playing, and the midfield not allowing these guys to have the time and space on the ball. In my opinion, I think we're gonna control the midfield as we did away from home against Leicester, and I think we're going to dominate them. And I think it's going to be a situation when they come to our house, they're going to realize how much better we are of a team than the team they faced the last couple of years. Because when they've played us at home the last couple of years, even though I think we beat them one time and we lost one time with that crazy game where there was a red card and everything, I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be a much more controlled game from us. And I'm giving Arsenal, I think we're favorites to win this game quite simply put, and I think we're going to win it maybe 3-1 or 2-0. I think it's going to be a 2-goal margin either way. What are you guys saying?
What I want to say is, do you think they're going to come and defend and sit back, or do you think they're going to come and give us?
They're going to come. They're Jose Mourinho tactics, quick counters, trying to catch.
That's not how they work, though. That's not how
I know that's not how they work, but I'm saying
this is what I'm saying. That I think, if you
Brendan
look at some of
the on the hot seat, he could get sacked.
No, exactly. I think they're going to come and go at us all the time from day.
They will
kick off. Yeah, because he needs to at least show that he's got that team ticking and try and get a result from this game. And I think that's going to play into us. It's not going to be the low block that we saw in previous games at the Arsenal, which have been incredibly frustrating, trying to break Brentford down and whatever. I think they're going to come at us. And I say now, I think it's Arsenal 4, Leicester 0.
I'm saying 3. But I will agree with Squire. I don't think it'll be a low.
I'm being greedy.
I think it'll be like a mid block, like a very lowish mid block. Like they'll block up around maybe like the 30-yard line or something like this. They'll set up their line, They'll try and basically compress the pitch, but they just don't have it in transition. Like Youri Tielemans is carrying a parachute wherever he goes. Like he doesn't have the ability to run like just more than 5 yards. He has the Lacazette syndrome for me. Then you have if there's no Maddison either. Like it's going to be, it'll be.
The point is, to get an early goal. They're going to still keep coming at us. They're going to still keep coming at us, and we're just going to pick them off.
It feels like a Leeds game. You know what I mean? Like that Leeds away when we're kind of playing
before Christmas. Exactly.
Yeah, it feels like that kind of game. So 4 isn't out of the picture. I just think 3...
exactly. And the way we're scoring, and free flowing, the way we're scoring, the confidence. I just think that this is going to be the perfect springboard for Wednesday night, because I think we get a really good display on Sunday. And the problem is, the other thing I have is that we're going from Sunday to Wednesday. It's not Saturday to Wednesday. So we're going to have to really be very careful that we want to go ahead in that game as quickly as possible, bang them in, get it up to 2 or 3-0, start bringing players off, get that extra fourth, and then rest everybody, get them off the pitch and get them back rested for Wednesday night, which is going to be our first Champions League game at Arsenal for 5 years, Wednesday night, because that is we're going to know where we're at Wednesday night, because all the shenanigans that went on over the COVID thing in the Carabao Cup. This is the Premier League. They're going for the title. We're going for third, and we need to push on. And it's going to be a hell of a game Wednesday. I don't want to start talking about it because I'm sure you've got plans for that. But anyway, that's my take. You're on mute. Mute.
Your music, Al.
Okay, I said something a couple months back after the 10-game winning streak. I remember sitting on a stream and saying to myself, you know what, this is not the same Arsenal. This is not the same team who would face these guys and lose embarrassingly, or even just drop points in an awkward manner. We currently have been a consistent team, and the way that we've been performing gives me some hope for the future. So this game right here, I'm looking at it as a marker for our top 4 hopes, a marker for the rest of the season, and a marker for everyone to let them know that this whole banter era that you guys were talking about is, in my opinion, is coming to a near end. And you're going to have to start respecting us as an opponent. You're going to have to start respecting us as an organization and as a club. And the way that we've been doing our things, we are almost, I'm not saying we're following the Liverpool model, but it's as close as to that, in my opinion, in how we're rebuilding. And now in the summer, here's where we're going to make our statements with the signings that we make. This Leicester game, in my opinion, we're going to win it. We're going to continue to show how good we are with our home form. We're going to continue to show how our football has improved. And defensively, I'm hoping these guys can keep a clean sheet to keep going after that best defensive record in the league. But yeah, we're currently the 4th best defense, and this is only
5th best. Wolves have conceded less goals than us, so the top 3 in Wolves, because Wolves have Jose Sa, who's denied 10 extra goals. He's been ridiculous this season. He is one of the best goalkeepers in this league this year. So, but 5th best defense in this season. We've obviously played less games, so that obviously goes against us as well, because they can score. They've had more opportunities to concede goals than we do as well, but the 5th best defense.
I found this. I wanted to end it off with closing remarks, guys. What do you guys think in regards to the rest of the season? Top 4 is solidified, because I think it's done.
Me personally, no, it's not done. I think we need to keep going. We've got cup finals to win every week.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so many things going on. You know, Chelsea are, they're winning. They're 2-0 up against. Okay, they're playing Norwich. They're always going to win this game. We don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea. Man United, I still think can turn round and start. I mean, let's see what happens. Tottenham Spurs at the week. Tottenham Spurs every week. Tottenham Spurs play every week. United
every week.
Every week. Spurs United at the weekend. It's going to be very interesting to see who makes a statement out of that for we're coming. I know Spurs are so far behind us. I don't see Spurs being the issue, but I still think that United, if we can get through the next 3 or 4 games and continue on this streak, keep winning and keep battering down our opponents and looking good in that league, then yes. But I still think it's too close to say top 4 done. I'm not going to be that smug person that's going to come back and bite me. It's not over yet, guys. It's not over yet.
I found the video of Watford away when we played Watford. When we played Watford at home, and after that game, I said this exact quote, and I just want to play it for everybody right now. Be prepared, because we are currently on a 10-game undefeated streak. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but the same banter team that you used to be bantering years ago, we don't have that underbelly, the soft underbelly, the weak people, the weak team that bends over and lets you win. That's not us. And eventually, it's going to get to a point where everyone's going to wake up and realize something is actually happening at Emirates and might be good. Right. So stop the dead banter and actually look at what you're seeing. You're seeing some level of progress. It's not to say we're going to win stuff and we're going to be amazing and flying. No, just look at what you're saying and say, you know what? 10 games, good sample size. Something might actually be going on. Now,
100%.
I'm loving the music, by the way.
Yeah, that was really that was good.
Go on, David.
No. Listen, that's me. I'm done. Listen, I've really enjoyed it. I'll pass it over. But listen, keep the faith. I just think it's. I think we're going to be thereabouts. But I still think I want it to be. I want to celebrate St. Ossigan's Day, and I want it to be 4th, and I want to go for 3rd now, and I want us to finish the season. You know, it's still not a trophy, and I'm still not happy that it's 4th. But hey, if you'd have come back to me in August when we were bottom of the league, 0 points, 3 games in, set adrift, falling apart. It's amazing what we've built, and Arteta, trust the process. The guy's got it. He's really making it happen, and I'm fully behind the guys, and I just love what I really do. And what I will say is, obviously, going to the Emirates all the time is the atmosphere there now has got it, as I called it the other day. It's the spirit of Highbury. The spirit of Highbury has come across the road and is now finally at the Emirates, because the atmosphere in those recent games, the last couple of home games, or beginning since this year, have been absolutely on another level.
The noise from the derby was mad. I was there. It was mad.
Yeah. The noise level, and also, but the spirit and the banter and the camaraderie. You know, we've been through COVID, and now we're just one big hugging, seething Gooner family again, all supporting, and all these factions have all been destroyed. And you know, it's quite amazing to see, and you can really feel it in the concourse and on the side of the pitch. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. And you know, when goals go in, the spirit, the noise in that stadium is exactly how it should be. And it's taken us, you know, nearly 20 years to do it. You know, to get it back. You know, it's just, we haven't had that for a long time. You know, and it's amazing. It's amazing. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens going forward.
There you go, Curran. Anything else before we go?
I think, the top 4's never done. Until it's mathematically impossible, it's never done. Never count your chickens. I mean, Igal, you mentioned about August. I think you did too, David. Look, I think I'm one of the only people who said we would get top 4 in August, even after Man City. I don't really take any pleasure in that. It's just the fact of the matter is you have to look more than in the moment. And I'm telling you right now, if we lose against Liverpool, there's going to be a lot of flip-flopping going on. And I don't really care about it. You've got to look at things objectively and say, look, your form outside of the big 6 is what gets you top 4. You look at the likes of Spurs losing to Burnley, losing to Southampton, losing to blah, 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 blah. Man United losing to Burnley. You know what I mean? I can go on drawing to Watford, etc., etc. The games that Liverpool determine a title challenge. These are the games. And if we're not there, we're not there. It's not going to be, it's the performance that matters. That's what we need to count on. If we lose 2-1, but put in a great performance, I don't really care. I'll be honest with you. But the fact is, we have to show that we are a team that to be taken seriously. And that's the main thing. Next summer is going to be interesting because it will show not only the direction of the club. It will show the degree of investment that's going to be put in, and it will also show the direction of how Arteta wants to structure his team. Does he want to go to a more attacking 4-3-3? Does he want to stick to a more conservative 4-2-3-1? How does he want to go forward and combat the top teams? Because that's what he's going to want to do now. He's going to want to. I mean, I don't know if you saw that Gabriel Mahala's interview, but he said that Arteta's already looking for next season and finishing in the top 2. That's the goal for next season. And we're not going to have any Amazon cameras. There's going to be fully. Everything has to be focused on the Champions League, the title race, and maybe even getting a cup. We don't want to be United. We don't want to be getting top 4 and that's it. We don't want to be like Arsenal of old. United haven't won a trophy since the 2017 Europa League final. We don't want to be doing that. That's not who Arsenal are. We have to consistently win trophies. We have to be back in terms of the Premier League. The Champions League, we need to start creating a legacy. I want to win that trophy. If anyone saw that PSG Real game last night, the quality in that was not as good as people think it is. Some really great players, but in terms of teams, structures, in terms of transition, it's just very open at times. And you have to be able to go in there and produce a deep run. That has to be the next goal. So we'll see for next season. This season is not over. 13 cup finals. Let's go and finish this season top 4, and we can shut everyone up. Shut the noise up. Shut it up.
Big up, guys. We're gonna wrap up. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Thank you, Karan. Thank you, Sport.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone who's been watching this whole video. Really do appreciate it. We're out here. Have yourselves a wonderful day. And you already know where to find my guy, Score Guy, on Twitter at Score Guy, and you know how to find my guy, Karan BOP, Ball Over Passion YouTube channel. Go check it out with George and the rest of the guys. Don't know, people. We're out of here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Peace out, and we'll catch you guys on the next video, hopefully tomorrow or on the match day itself.